This is episode 8 of Radio Artes, a podcast by Studium Generale Artes. Welcome to episode 8 of Radio Artes. We are still in our series on equality in the arts, and I am still joined by Katelijne de Munk. Here we are again, episode 4, and I think by now it's clear what the situation is and how dire it actually is. But we didn't only focus on what was wrong with the arts world today. In the conference, also a lot of speakers presented new initiatives, new platforms, ways forward, and that's what we'll focus on in the second half of the series, so episodes 4 through 6. Starting with this episode 4, with the Black Student Union. Nagaré Willemse was there as a representative. Can you talk more about Nagaré?
Well, Nagaré Willemse is an alumnus of Artis and Sandberg Institute. And at the moment, she works as a coordinator of the Black Student Union at Rietveld Sandberg. And we asked her to give her advice to art institutions based on her experiences as a student of color. And Nagaré spoke about how she found during her studies that students of color were treated really different than other students, and how she experienced microaggressions, and what they especially felt was the effect of a more or less fully European-oriented program. And this weighs really heavily on underrepresented students because there is no space or knowledge being provided for their Black identity. And that makes that they experience the space as really uninviting. And by creating a Black Student Union, they this Black Student Union offers them a possibility to create a common ground and a safety net by sharing perspectives and creativity and dreams and joy. And she especially underlined the importance to provide resources and continual support to student initiatives to work towards becoming really diverse and inclusive institutions.
Since 2017, the USB came together after a workshop of Camille Barton. Camille Barton is the director of the Collective Liberation. It's a design educational experience to help people understand oppression and how it relates to their lived experience, so they can stop behaving in ways that reproduce oppression such as racism and sexism. At that day, all the teachers from the Sandberg Institute had a white allyship training. So, and after that day, all the students from African descent were invited to come together for the first time. I would describe this as pure joy, because in the bachelor, BA Artes, I was the only Black student for 4 years on the whole academy, and I also studied in Zwolle, same story. But that workshop and that gathering also realized that we were actually sharing all the same experience within the school, dealing with microaggressions, racism, and also having people came to us and they expected us to talk about racism or explain decolonization. So I was like, hey, I just saw the folder of Sandberg and I thought that this was super like experimental and like, so I was a bit tricked also by the Black person on the folder and thinking that it would be different than the BA and the bachelor. So my whole school year, I was dealing with actually just being very alone and having no teachers of color or a very European canon of a curriculum. So then I was graduated and I thought, thank God, praise the Lord, vacation. Then they asked me, like, hey, Nagaré, the Black Student Union is there, and would you like to be the coordinator of the Black Student Union? And I was like, me? Oh my God. I was like, wow, yeah, I would love to do that. So then I started to work. So I was like, okay, this is paid labor then. So they give me a fixed contract. And with this contract, I also felt like, okay, so in other words, you gave me space to take risk, space to make mistakes. And you also really give me something that can grow and that can build up, because I cannot like decolonize the school in 1 year. Thank you for diversity, Nagare. Hey, was great meeting you, and then bye. Okay, we have the accreditation behind us. Thank you for the folders. Thank you for the pictures. Yes. So I really believe like if we and also to have a more like a network of Black people also in the working force, it really is important that contracts and money and finance and really truly support is so important. Also of thinking like if you accept somebody in your workspace, then you also give acknowledgement of somebody's work. And that is what I didn't felt when I was a student and just like explaining, and every question about Zwarte Piet and every blackface question and explaining. How does it look like, our structure in school? So there's unsettling. So the board, the executive board, raised the question to have diversity program within the school. And then Judith Leisner and Claire Butcher created Unsettling. And this is the first sentence of their manifesto. Can the Gerrit Rietveld Academy and Sandberg Institute become radically inclusive structure? Still working on it. Intercurricular initiative that is supporting existing initiatives while also developing outreach programs, drawing in new perspectives and making the context of the academy more inclusive to other voices, minds and bodies. Unsettling Rietveld Sandberg will be working towards a policy inclusion and diversity in the academy. So this is, for me, the most important work that they are doing, next to being also a very big support system for students within the school. They have round table talks with students, staff, actually everybody within the school, and everybody worked to create a new policy about diversity within the school. And this year it will be like executed. So then we have the student council. It's part of the quality agreements, kwaliteitsafspraken. The government gave money to all the institutions. The money was actually on for now because students now have a loan. So with the quality agreements, we created the student council, and the student council is there to support student initiatives, such as at school we have the vegan lesbian curry, for instance. They come together, eat together, and create spaces for LGBTQ. We also have a nomadic garden, so next to the parking lot we have now a garden. So there's like small initiatives, but now they can grow because it's money for 6 years. I'm also coordinator in the student council. And what also is the student council wants to have more transparency of the administrative structures of the institutions. A lot of documents are still in Dutch. And yeah, that is super sad because as a student you cannot have access to all the knowledge and documents within the school. So that is one of the stuff that we are working on. Then, since 2017, we were like the first Black student union within the school, but in the last couple of years, we have the Asian Union, the Near East Union, and the Latin American Caribbean Union. And we all work together also to point each other's blind spots, and also especially to be students instead of, so we want to take up space to have also the privilege to study instead of only being busy with diversity. So we want to, So events that we created with the Black Student Union. So for instance, the library was like only white. You didn't had like different canons. And if you had books about African art, let's say it was like Africa Now. And then from a very European perspective. So what we did, we asked a book list of the Black Archives, and we collected all the requested within school. And yeah, we created a new, let's say, context and canon within the library. So as for the Black students or students of color and different cultures with a different background, if you step in, you are also there, you are also represented, and you can also find yourself there instead of being in Europe feeling kind of. This is still from a performance that we did in the school, and it called Make Room, where we took up space because even being Black, you actually also now like, you also are not visible, especially also if you're not represented in the library, you actually are not visible in school. So we have open lecture and events, but we also have, like, we eat together, and we also have like spaces that it's only for us, in a sense. That is what we do. You can find us on Instagram and Sandberg Institute on the website, Facebook, and on the Gerrit Rietveld. Okay, thank you for listening so much.
Great, thank you.
And that's it for this episode. Nagare also composed a letter based on the experiences she just talked about. You can find the link in the show notes. We're back tomorrow with the 5th episode in the series. Thanks for listening.